Hello, how are you doing? Thanks for joining me. I hope you're well. You find me in a very sunny Lake District. I'm here to do a Lakeland Trail, and those of you who followed the channel for many years will have seen me do one of these before. I did the Coniston one, I think it was about 3 years ago. I'll put a link to that video. But I'm here to do the Staveley one this weekend, and what I'm planning to do is make a pictorial record of this whole trip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and produce a slideshow to give a flavour of the weekend. I'm not going to focus too much on the photography because obviously the race takes precedence, but I'm going to try and put together a little package, and I'm going to try and show you how I do the sequencing of the pictures, because normally I just show you a slideshow at the end of a video and hopefully each picture flows into the next and it feels natural. But it's not just putting it all in a line and that's it. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and I think hopefully I'll be able to show you how in your photography you can try and put things together in a way so that if it's a series of pictures, they flow and it feels like a really nice experience for the person looking at them. That works for if you're doing a book, a slideshow, any of that sort of stuff, anything that's a series. So without further ado, let's crack on with the photography, and then we will go into the studio. At the end of this video, I'll show you how I sequence everything, and then we'll have the slideshow. So if you want to skip any of this, please do just skip to the bit that you're interested in. Right, let's crack on. So when we arrived in the Lake District, it was me and Lucy, but I'm not featuring Lucy in this video. I think she deserved a weekend off from being recorded. We wandered around, took in some of the sites, and then took an open-topped bus tour around Windermere, Ambleside and Grasmere, taking a few photographs as we went. After that, we then headed towards the ferry, where we caught a ferry across Windermere towards the west shore, where we were going to spend the night. We really were blessed with the weather. It had been a pretty gloomy week before this, but it was fantastic blue skies most of the time we were there. And the Lake District, it looks fantastic in all weathers, but in the sunshine, it was truly stunning. All the time I was taking photographs, I was thinking about how I could form a narrative of the weekend without turning the whole thing into a photo making exercise. The key factor in getting a flow is in the edit, but if you haven't got the right material in the first place, it's like everything, you can't fix 100% of the problems in post.
It is Saturday morning, it's very cold, but I am ready to race, so let's go take some pictures at Staveley.
And so yes, we made our way to Staveley, a few miles away from where we've been staying. Hoping I wasn't going to make too much of a fool of myself, I picked up my race number, got it pinned onto my vest and prepared for the start, hoping a little cup of coffee would get me through to the finish line. I really can't eat before a race. As always, the drummers were there to get us going, get the heart rate up, and I made my way to the start line and began the run. I won't show much of that here because I didn't have my phone out to take video, but I did have my little XA2 in my running waist pouch. It was loaded with 200 speed ColorPlus, and as you'll see at the end, some of the results are a little bit shaky. But at least it was a camera that I wasn't worried about running with. It was so small, it was so tough, the perfect race companion. So race over, a little snapshot of what was going on. Okay, so this is H in the A to Z of pork pies, and I came across this place completely by accident, and just leaving Windermere Station, looking for something to eat, went past a shop which advertised itself as having award-winning pies. I think this was a runner-up or the highly commended in the pork pie category, so well worth a try. £2.50, it's a pretty sizable pie, it's got good jelly. I didn't have my fork and my HP with me for this one because I wasn't expecting to do it, but I couldn't miss it. But there's a good amount of jelly in it. I don't think I'm going to need the HP. The crust is nice and golden. It broke apart really easily. It's not too dense in the middle, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The proof of the pie is in the eating. So let's give it a taste. Good seasoning, good texture, consistency. The filling isn't a uniform gelatinous mass, it's got texture to it, chewy bits, soft bits. The jelly adds a nice little refreshing touch. That's a good pie. That's a good pie. Good value pie as well. Quite big for the 250. Yeah. I would rate this 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for this pie, I think. Lovely. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little pork pie intermission. So after the race, I took a few photographs on the XA2 with what was left over, and I quite like this one, the skip, where the sun came out just for a moment so I could get this picture, and I really like the shapes and the colours. Nothing to do with the weekend, but just one for the portfolio of geometrics that I like to keep. So race over, we headed back across the water, enjoyed the rest of the day, and took a few more photographs on our wanderings. So there we go, that's the end of the trip to the lakes. So let's go into the studio and see if we can make anything of this sequence of pictures and make a nice slideshow that flows. Right, so here we are back in the studio, and it was a lovely weekend away. I have been through the photographs and I have started processing them, and they're on the laptop here. What I'm going to show you now is how I'm going to create a flow in the edit to make the slideshow work as a coherent whole, and hopefully you will enjoy watching the event unfold. So I will open up the laptop and you can see that what we've got here, I've laid out all the processed images that I'm going to use here. I've discarded some of them already, and what I need to then do is move these around into a sequence, left to right, top to bottom. Obviously in the slideshow it will be one after the other, there won't be a sequence. If you're doing it for a book, you'd be laying them out as groups or flowing from one page to another and working out nice combinations. But that's a different thing, and I might talk about that in another episode. I did talk about it a bit when I did my Hillgate project, but I will go into more detail about doing sets of pictures, because I tended to do one per page for that. So anyway, for this one, with it being a slideshow as well, I think I will have some music going over the top of it. So I will have one set of music for the weekend as a whole, and I think for the race day and the race photographs, which are a separate set of photographs because they were all shot on the film camera on the XA2, so they are all ColorPlus and should have the ColorPlus look. The others were digital and will have the digital look with the processing that I tend to apply to give my own kind of feel to it, my own sort of colour grade. How will I sequence them? I could just be totally chronological, go from the start to the end, but I think that would be really boring because you would get pictures which are very much the same one after another, and what you want to get is a sense of light and shade, big and small. So what I want to do, I will start with one image which shows the start of the weekend and one image which shows the end of the weekend to bookend it, but within that I will try and use the images out of chronological sequence to give more of a flavour and a feel of the event, rather than a this happened at 0800 hours, 0810 hours, 9:15 hours, etc., because that would be a little bit boring. And what I'm going to try and do all the way through is show maybe a close-up next to a far away shot, make the colours lead into one another, show some with people, some without people, give a flavour without necessarily showing things one after the other. And I will jump around from place to place, give some contextual photographs which show the whole area, then dive in and show some details. Now again, if I was going to be doing this in book form, I might put some captions in, I might put some more information. Quite often when I do these videos, I will put information about shutter speeds and things, but I wouldn't do that in the slideshow. I just want people to look at the images. And again, the amount of time that I leave the images up is important. Some of it's to do with fitting in with the music and moving on the beat so it feels like it flows, but some photos require more reading than others, and I try and leave those up for longer. So if there's something that requires more attention, it will be there for longer, so you won't feel that, oh, there wasn't time to look at that, oh, I didn't really get the full information from that before it flipped on something else and I'm frustrated. Likewise, if there are ones where it's just a bold boomph of, oh, that's a visually stunning picture, the longer you look at it, the more you might become bored that there's not enough in there to hold my attention. So I will only have those pictures up for maybe 1 bar of music rather than 2 bars of music or 3 bars of music. So that's how I work it. But anyway, that's just to give you a flavour of how I do the edit. We will cut to the slideshow and you can see it in action, and let me know, do you think it flows? Do you think it gives a nice story of the weekend, bearing in mind what you saw already from the little bits of video that I shot? Right, so there we go. I will leave you with that slideshow, and I will hopefully see you for another video soon. Now is a really good time, if you don't mind, if you're not already a subscriber, please do subscribe, like and share this video before the slideshow starts, and that will really help me out. Okay, catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.